God's great news is like a priceless diamond. But if we put that diamond on a glass table, it's hard to see where the glass ends and the diamond begins. So jewelers place diamonds on black velvet. Against the blackness, every color of the diamond leaps to light. Now in Romans 1:18 through 20, Paul lays out the black velvet, the black news about sin, setting the backdrop against which the diamond of God's great news flashes to light. In fact, in these verses, the scene changes dramatically. We are transported to a heavenly courtroom with God as the supreme judge and Paul as the prosecuting attorney. From Romans 1:18 to 3:20, Paul prosecutes God's case against the human race. Paul begins by reading God's charge against humanity in verse 18, quote, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who suppress the truth in unrighteousness." God's fundamental charge is that men suppress the truth in unrighteousness. In other words, there is a cover-up of something they know is true. To prove his point, Paul calls two witnesses, one in verse 19 and one in verse 20. Now, Paul says in verse 19, quote, "That which is known about God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them." Now, Paul is saying that the truth that God exists, that He holds the keys of life and death, is evident, already proven, within them. This is the internal witness of the conscience, that still small voice that bears witness about God and right and wrong in each human heart. Then in verse 20, Paul writes that, quote, "Since the creation of the world, His invisible attributes, His eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made." Now this is the external witness of the creation, which every day tells the story of darkness turning into light, a new resurrection every morning, of the faithfulness of the sun rising every day, of the order of the seasons, of the integral unity of the circle of life that reflects the integrity of God's character. So every person on the earth lives every single day with the internal witness of the conscience crying out about God within, and the external witness of the creation telling forth the glory of God all around us. No wonder Paul concludes, quote, "They are without excuse before God because they know about Him. They know He exists, but they are suppressing that knowledge." You know, I am convinced when each person dies and goes to meet God, not a single person will be surprised that God exists and is the righteous and final judge. Our problem is suppressing what we know. It's just one big cover-up.